You know, after about 80 hours into Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, 50 hours on my Pokemon Scarlet and the rest on my Pokemon Violet copy, it's safe to say these games have divided the Pokemon community. Who knows if whether for the worse or for the best? Let's talk about it, bro. Now, thankfully, I was able to get the games early, just like everybody else who has either a hack switch or an emulator or an uncle at Nintendo or a mom and pop shop that just so happens to sell the games early. Who knows? But a lot of people got the game early. And just like my review, a lot of people have a lot of good things to say about the game, a lot of bad things to say about the game. There is no perfect Pokemon game experience here. Now, obviously, recency bias does take, I guess, some type of like form here, but it's really interesting to see Pokemon fans try and cope with the fact that maybe this game is low-key not it for some people. Like right now on Twitter, there's a Pokemon fan saying Scarlet and Violet is peak Pokemon and they haven't played the game since Black and White 2. I've seen people say the story in Scarlet and Violet is the best story we've had since Black and White. And honestly, I just do not understand. Do you people just press A and not read? Now, before we get into my thoughts about the games, let's really talk about some things that are like glaring issues for a lot of people. Let's talk about it. The game is poorly optimized. It's actually really garbage. Random clipping, textures not loading in. The list goes on, but apparently there's a memory leak in this game, which just goes to show that, hey, the game is not ready or was not ready, and we just need more time in the oven, and or maybe we need a couple more patches to fix these problems along the line, you know? But in terms of graphics and performance, obviously these aren't the best Pokemon games at all. Pokemon Let's Go, even Sword and Shield, BDSPs, Legends Arceus, they're all playable Pokemon games. And for some people, I think a lot of people don't understand that, hey, these issues can stop people from having fun. Like if my game is lagging, barely holding on to 30 FPS, why am I playing this game and I pay $60 for it? If every time I go into a new area and let's say rain comes down, why is it still lagging in 2022? And there's always going to be that one person in the comment section saying Pokemon isn't this and Pokemon isn't that game, but there are plenty of games on the Switch that don't look like crap. And you would think with a AAA title like Pokemon and it being like the highest grossing media, as well as the games selling as well as they do, maybe some more love should have been put into these games. Who knows? But I really do wish that we didn't have to get a new Pokemon game every single year and they try to like mask this DLC as if it's not an add-on to this. Because unfortunately, Pokemon, the games, have been taking a humongous backdrop as opposed to the merch and the anime that airs. These games are really an excuse to push merchandise and to push the anime for anybody who wants to watch outside. Because when you look into the percentages of the company itself, the games actually don't do that good compared to the merchandise or the anime, oddly enough. Because I'm pretty sure the game came first back when it first came out, but obviously times have changed. Pokemon is a global entity now. It's really, really huge. But it's because of that I think that a lot of people don't understand why what the Pokemon company is doing to Pokemon and Game Freak themselves is actually a bad thing. Pokemon can get away with dropping the most trash game possible, and we would still buy it, we would still eat it up, and as long as it's able to push the merch in the anime, it doesn't matter. Now, in terms of where I'm at with the game, honestly, I like them. Now, I don't think they're the best Pokemon games out right now, but I do understand the direction that Game Freak is going with this series, and I actually embrace it. I love that raid battles are faster and better than they were in Sword and Shield. I like the illusion of open world that they give you in this game. The music is really good, obviously because, you know, it's Pokemon, let's be honest here. The whole idea of there being 3 branching storylines that have nothing to do with each other and you can just play them in your own order is really, really good. The problem is it's not real. Now, when I was telling you things that I liked about the game, you probably noticed that I didn't say one word and one word only, and that's story. Since Pokemon Black and White, Pokemon has tried to do a more narrative approach to their video games and tried to introduce new characters that have some type of meaning and some type of symbolism in them, and this game is no different. The problem is, you don't know that. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet to me feel like the post game, you know? Like for example, the Path of Legends side quest, right? You have to help Arven go through these titans and essentially grab this herb to go and fix his best friend. Now, the Path of Legends is the most important story here because the Path of Legends storyline goes to the ending of the game, the real ending of the game. Now, I'll get to the ending soon, but let's just talk about the Path of Legends side quest, right? Now, you start to learn a lot about Arven and his ties towards his Pokemon Mabosstiff. We all love Mabosstiff, right? And you get maybe about like maybe 3 or 4 lines of dialogue that Arvin gives you to like, I guess, allude to there being more to his character. But it's at the very end of the Path of Legend storyline where you actually get to see a glimpse of what's to come in the future of the game. After beating him, you find out that he hasn't seen his mother or his dad in literal years since he was a child. And when you're invited to Area Zero, you find out this is his first time seeing them in forever. And he's very nervous. He's very scared. He feels neglected. It's like, oh my God, like he is finally about to face his biggest resentment in his life. And I love that. I love all that. That is so good to me. But I kind of wish that like, hey, the professor was built on more. But you'll understand what I mean when I get to that. Let's keep it going, right? The Victory Road segment honestly isn't a bad segment because it's ideally the original Pokemon format. You go through your 8 gym badges, you fight your rivals, you're done, right? My biggest critique with this part of the game is the fact that the cutscenes are very sun and moonlight. Every time you walk into a building, black screen. Every time you get out of the cutscene, black screen. Every time you introduce a new character, black screen. And it's like, wow, why are we still moving like this? What's going on? Literally every single time you go to a gym leader, you see Nemona sitting there. And it's almost like, Nemona, you are already a champion level trainer. Why do you want to be involved in my journey like this? She has this like weird obsession with you. And it's almost kind of weird how this starts because when you meet her in the game, she is already a well-seasoned champion ranked trainer. Like she's already beaten the Elite Four in anything, but she decides that, hey, I'm going to start off with you. Mind you, she has more Pokemon in her PC. And the moment that you beat her, she grows this humongous forced attachment to you. Now, obviously, when you go through the story, when you go through the gym challenge, she starts to earn a lot more respect for you. And it seems that, you know, maybe her obsession is not forced at all. But the initial like start of it is like, why are you so obsessed with me? What's going on with you? And honestly, it kind of gets annoying seeing Nemona at some point because it kind of feels like I wish that they put her in certain parts in the region and not the gym challenge, if that makes any sense. Like the only time you ever see Nemona is literally at the gyms. You don't see her on other routes. You don't see her going into a route. You don't see her stopping you right before a Starfall Street quest. You don't see her right before a legend or whatever. It's just, she's just at the gym. And it comes to a point where it's like, yo, can I just battle the gym first? Or why do I have to battle you after the gym? I literally just got done fighting the gym leader. Why do I have to battle you at the gym? And unfortunately, as a rival, outside of being good, Nemona falls flat to me. And that's honestly because she isn't as involved as a Hop or a Hal. And that's unfortunately because there is no story in this game. The most involvement she gets in this entire playthrough run up until the very end of the game is when the champion herself is gassing her up. Or when she finally takes you up to the school to get your Terra Orb and like introduce you, you know, get you all acquainted with the academy and stuff like that. I said this before and I said it again. She reminds me of if Hop didn't get humbled. If Hop did not get humbled, he would be the exact same character as Nemona. Because when you meet Hop, Hop already thinks he's better than you as is because he belongs to a lineage and his older brother is a champion. He thinks that because he's able to like, you know, obviously aspire to be his brother, and because he's closer to him, he has an idea of how to be a trainer, and he wants to like obviously have you as his rival. Nemona sees potential in you, and she wants you to be her rival. And the problem is she becomes overbearing. You see her in literally every single gym battle, whether it's a battle or it's a cutscene of her talking to you. And it's not like these cutscenes are like crazy with information, like no, or her character gets like delved upon more. No, she is like a blank, like she is the most mid character ever. Like she is, hey, I want you to be stronger, catch up to me. That's it. There is no sadness in her. There's nothing in her because she's good. She's a very good Pokemon trainer. But why is she the rival is my question. Like, are you really a rival to somebody who's already champion ranked? Come on, y'all. No. You're not aspiring to be better than her. You're aspiring to catch up. And don't get me started on the Starfall Street side quest. I'm not gonna lie to you. This was boring. Like, I'm not gonna hold you. It's really hard to go from corrupt politician trying to save the future of his planet and or like Pokemon Legends Arceus where you go into the past and you just so happen to be like, yo, I gotta save Arceus, save Dialga, I gotta save the region. The region's going crazy. The time warps are distorting. Like, it's hard to go from those to this and take this serious. All the Starfall Street bosses are all just rejects from the academy who want to basically, I guess, threaten the school. And the professor knows about this, or the director knows about this. The director and professor are two different people, but the director knows about these people. He actually accompanies you under a different guise and tries to like talk to these people after you get done doing all the hard work. Mind you, this guy has a team full of level 60 mons that you don't know about until you have to fight him. Because unfortunately, you go through this entire storyline trying to make these characters redeem themselves, and it's like, oh yeah, I'm the real guy. No, you're not. And it's just a battle, an excuse actually, to fight him. Like, when I mean unnecessary, the director battle is one of the most unnecessary battles ever. This could have been one of those battles they save for the post game after you get done beating all the story stuff. And he'd be like, hey, you know, you've done so well to get up to this point. Do you want to battle me? It's been a long time since I've battled. Let's do this, you know? And you fight in the schoolyard in front of the people and you go crazy. Just to find out that, lo and behold, Penny, as obvious as it can be, is the real Cassiopeia and the real Pokemon trainer that these Team Star rejects love so much. They don't even know her real name. It kind of sucks that when you battle her, unfortunately, she's very, very easy. She has a team full of evolutions, and you know, at this point in time, you should have level 60 Pokemon that could destroy the evolutions. They didn't get buffed in this generation. They didn't get anything crazy in this generation. There isn't a new evolution in this generation anyway. So it's like, yo, I can pretty much just kill you with my all-around team, you know? I want to go back to the Victory Road segment really quick because what I noticed is that, like, unfortunately, the Elite Four and the champion in this game are a lot more easier than most Pokemon games. Now, while they do hit like a truck, the typing variety in this doesn't really seem to be scary, you know? Like in the Elite Four, it goes from, I think, ground, flying, dragon, and steel, which are some of the most offensive typings in the game. But unfortunately, like, I already battled a fairy type trainer, a psychic type trainer, a dark type trainer. All the really good and really, really broken typings compared to those are not in the Elite Four, minus ground and dragon. Flying type could have been saved for somebody else entirely. Oh, sorry, I mean some were put in the region itself and not the Elite Four. And now we get to the ending of the game, the true final boss of the game, the true ending of the game. Listen, I like this part of the game, but this hour and a half alone destroys any plot of substance in this game. So continuing on, you actually find out that Arven's mom or dad, Professor Sada or Toro, depending on whatever game that you're playing, was actually obsessed with bringing the future and the past to the real world now. So much so that they invented a time machine, and this time machine alone was able to bring Pokemon from different time periods in the future and the past to come into this world. That's why you see Great Tusk and all that stuff in the desert. You then find out that there was another Miraidon and Koraidon in any one of these versions, and that they're ancestors / descendants of Cyclizard. And at some point during this humongous overworking of themselves, the professors decided to create an AI of themselves, a robot, a clone. This clone has memories, emotions, all that stuff attached to their character. And somewhere down the line, the second Miraidon or Koraidon goes berserk and ends up killing the professors right then and there. You find out in order to stop the, I guess, leaking of the past and the future Pokemon, you have to stop the time machine. But unfortunately, to do that, you have to destroy the AI the professor had made for you to kill. Arven finds out that his mom and or dad has always been dead for the last couple of years. And it sucks because unfortunately, this is the part that gets me. The moment that like Arven notices that it isn't them, he tries to cling to the image of them. Like, yo, mom, dad, it may not be you, but you're the only thing that I have of you because I've been neglected my entire life. I love that, right? And then after you beat that entire thing, you then find out that, you know, the professor has always been gone. And the ending itself is very bittersweet because Arven just has to sit there and hold that. There's nothing he can do at all. It's really bittersweet, really somber. It's weird. It's like, hey, you know, even if we just did what we just did, let's have fun. Let's take the long way home. Let's cheer up our buddy Arven. Yeah. And in terms of story, I just feel like the game falls flat, unfortunately. Arven is an amazing character, and he reminds me a lot of like Lily, but obviously way more capable as a trainer and as a character. He just has a Pokemon that he wants to take care of, who's dying, who's been there for him his entire life, but he has a neglectful parent, of course, and he hasn't seen this person at all. And it's clear that Arven is technically the main character as opposed to you, right? You're just there to help. because you're way more capable than him. But kind of like how Lily is like the main character of Sun and Moon, and you pretty much play like second fiddle to the entire plot of the game. You were playing that here, but this one's different. This one is almost forced, because unless you're adding more sandwiches and more upgrades to your Miraidon, your Koraidon, you barely talk to the professor as is. The last hour of the game is a big exposition dump, and then you do a battle. And aside from the few times that Arven reads from the book, you never really have to sit there and wonder, damn, why are these Pokemon leaking through whatever they're leaking through, and these random Pokemon are just coming up from the past and the future? Who are these Pokemon? Where are they coming from? The rest of the region does not care about this besides you and Arven. And the gym leaders were okay. Like, the gym leaders were cool. They were all right. They weren't the best, but they weren't like trash, you know? I love the Twitch streamer idea. I love the esthetician. I think that's how you say that word. Trainer. I love the Crasher Wake lookalike chef guy. I don't like Larry at all. I love the black woman hip hop trainer. Love it. I do kind of wish that there was something better and different about these Titans though, because aside from the Great Tusk / whatever the other one thing is called, all the Pokemon themselves are just bigger Pokemon. It'd be so much different if these Titans were like alternative past versions of the Pokemon they were trying to be. But I guess at the same time, they were trying to like introduce these new Pokemon and force you to see these new Pokemon, because you rarely see these Pokemon as is. Like if you're just running through the desert, you barely see that worm Pokemon. You see way more other Pokemon than you do that worm at all. Or the stork Pokemon. I've only seen that one, and that's it. Now the crab and the big fish, that's different. Obviously you see those, they're literally in their like areas where they need to be, their habitats. And Great Tusk and Elon Tusk are essentially just there to give you a glimpse of what's to come, but there is no like crazy, I guess, information dump on them at all. Arven just reads from the book, says something really, really vague, adds some at the end of it, and then just goes about his business. But you can tell in this game, the story is literally the backdrop of the game. The whole purpose of this game is the scale. This is probably the biggest Pokemon world we have to date. No, it is. I mean, minus lagging, there's obviously a humongous like time difference in trying to complete from one side of the map to another side of the map. The raid battles are fun. The cooperative stuff is fun. All the stuff is fun. I love the new mons. I'm not gonna hold you. At first, I could see why people might not like the new additions to the Pokemon Pokedex. But honestly, I like them. I like them all. I like them. They're really broken. They're really good. I think Finizen is exactly what I wanted from a dolphin. I think Tickaton is adorable. I wish he was better. I love the new Paradox forms. They look really, really good. I like that a lot. There are a lot more from the Pokedex that I do wish, were better designed or you saw more often. But like, other than that, like, I like this game in terms of what's available to you. Now, the big issue that I have with this game is the scaling, the level scaling, or I guess the lack thereof, unfortunately. When you give Pokemon the illusion of, hey, this is open world and you can go talk to any trainer you want, you can do whatever you want, you would think that there would be level scaling in this game. You would think there would be level scaling in this game, but unfortunately there isn't. There just isn't. There just isn't for some reason. Why is there not level scaling in this game? When you first open the game, when you first get the access to get out, right? There are literally 2 gym leaders to the left and to the right. One at the bottom left of the game and one at the bottom right of the region, right? One of them is like level 13, level 14, and the other one is in their 30s. Why? And this is a new trainer. This is somebody that you've never seen before at all. Not in any of the press runs whatsoever. And her typing is really, really good. I think it's psychic typing too. Why is it that she is so busted? What's going on? Scale the levels. Because when you give somebody the option to go left and right in the Pokemon Academy, you go to the left and it's this humongous empty plot of crop. You do one gym leader and maybe like one Titan at the highest top of the mountain before going to the middle section to go battle the Crasher Wick lookalike in the desert. But there's literally a humongous corner in the region that you cannot go to, because the moment you go over there, you're fighting level 25s, you're fighting level 40s, why? What is that? It's almost like they lied to you. It's like, oh yeah, you can go to whatever training you want, but the problem is, hey, it's not going to scale. The gyms are not going to scale. The Team Star guys are not going to scale to you. The Tyrants are not going to scale to you. And honestly, to some point, I understand, because you kind of don't want the game to be too broken. But please tell me, at what point did you think, hey, maybe we should hold the trainers back. Let's say, for instance, you want to just sit down and just farm the raids or whatever, right? You get hella candies, you go nuts. You still have the level cap of all the gym leaders to go through. And the level cap is not bad. The problem is the gym leaders have preset levels anyway. So let's say you skip the first 2 trainers on the left side, right? You're fighting level like 14s, 20s, and let's say you decide to go to like Larry or the guys at the top of the region who, mind you, are in their 40s, late or early 50s. And let's just say, you know, I just sat here and just grinded up all my mons. My mon's level 45. I'm about to go do the bottom and go down to the top, you know? Or vice versa, go up to the top and go down to the bottom. You cannot do anything past that level cap still. So even if you decide to go up in the region, you can't even battle the trainers, you can't battle the gym leaders, you can't battle the wild Pokemon because the game does not scale to you at all. You'll go up there and instantly faint, unfortunately. And with these predetermined levels, unfortunately, the gym challenge isn't really as open world as you think it is because, hey, you still have to fight your level 14, 15 gym leaders, and then you have to go up to your 20 gym leaders, then you go to your 30s, then your 40s, and then you do the Elite Four, then you do the Champion. That still is a thing there, and it doesn't scale to you at all because there is a correct way to do these levels and these gyms. The problem is they lie to you. And there's barely any side quests in this game, oddly enough. And you might say, hey, yes, there is. There are some trainers that like stop you, that like are like, hey, you know, the yellow text. The problem with the yellow text is the yellow text doesn't really pop up for some people until you get past those NPCs or you see those NPCs and it's like, oh yeah, I have want to trade, or I have this item available, and this item they want is like, okay, you don't really need this item. You can find this item in the wild. You probably have a better chance at finding that item in the wild than you will talking to that trainer to exchange for that other item, you know? Now, obviously, that's not counting the lucky egg because you got the lucky egg from a professor in the academy, but like, that's what I'm saying. You can find a lot of items in the wild yourself. And it just feels like this game is just a bundle of ideas that just, they're fun to play through, but once you sit down and really think about what you just played, it's almost like, yo, Game Freak, what happened to you, bro? This cannot be the same game that gave us, this cannot be the same company that gave us Pokemon Emerald, Platinum, Fire Red Leaf Green, Legends Arceus, Black and White 2. Like, what's going on here? An open world Pokemon game is literally the easiest thing anybody can make, literally. And this goes back to me playing fan games, right? Whether it's the scaled difficulty of Pokemon Crystal Clear or the survival aspect of Pokemon Wilds, an open world Pokemon game is not impossible. But why does it feel like every time we get closer to it, we take 2 steps back? That's it, man. Let me know what y'all think about it in the comment section below. Make sure y'all leave a like and a comment. Let me know how y'all feel about it in the comment section below. Are y'all still having fun? No, I'm happy you're having fun. You know what I'm saying? Thank you so much. You feel me? I'll talk to y'all in the next one. Bye.